Chuckie is Rich is definitely a very interesting Rugrats episode. I feel like I had the vaguest recollection of this episode from my childhood, but not enough to know how the episode would end. And I will, with a spoiler warning, discuss that just in case you can't remember what happened or how it concludes. But this is the second segment of the 16th episode of the third season of Rugrats. And in this one, Chaz wins a sweepstake and he wins $10 million. And obviously that's fantastic. So he and Chuckie move into a big house, and Chuckie has his hair slicked back. He's wearing very smart clothing. Chaz is talking quite differently, and money has changed them. And Chuckie has a playroom that looks incredible. And Tommy, Angelica, Phil, and Lil are playing in the playroom, but Phil and Lil in particular just want to play with his games console. And Angelica decides to play roll the ball with him. And Angelica's very nice to Chuckie, and I think it's very obvious that she's sucking up to him because he's now in the money. And we see characters acting very differently, treating Chuckie differently, Chaz treating people differently. The only person who isn't different is Chuckie. He looks different, but obviously because he doesn't fully understand what having money means, and he just wants to play roll the ball with his friends, he doesn't act any differently. And I think it's a really interesting thing to show that children don't really understand the value of money, and it doesn't make them act differently. The other children act differently because of, the toys and things. Angelica, being a bit older, has more awareness of what money means. And I honestly had no idea where it was going and what would happen with the episode. So I enjoyed it. Very well animated. Great to see the design of the house. The house is huge. For example, the doors are gigantic. The height of the ceilings are just incredible. Really great design. Really got this sense of, colossal wealth. And it was really fascinating to see. So what actually happens at the end, I'll discuss now with a spoiler warning. Well, I'll still not go into too much detail, but basically, Charles makes an investment kind of against his better judgment, and the money goes away. And he no longer has any money. And honestly, I feel like he could have stayed in that big house and just sold off some of the ridiculous things he bought, and he would have been able to sustain that life because presumably he bought the house outright and doesn't have a mortgage. So as an adult, I'm watching it thinking this is unrealistic. You've bought your house and you've bought all of this tat that you can just sell. So he didn't necessarily have to go back to his old life, but obviously the show wouldn't have worked if that hadn't happened. So generally, I think it was actually a well-developed narrative, and as I said, I didn't know how it would conclude itself. So I was curious, really liked it, and definitely goes to show that money can change people, but money shouldn't change people. And really all that matters is just being yourself and having fun with your friends. Not a bad episode and not a bad message.